What up guys, today we're going to be reacting to the Dragon Ball Daima teaser trailer coming out in fall 2024, it's pretty close, but I thought it was going to be a lot closer than that. And apparently it's called Daima. Before we were getting the leaks, before this whole announcement as a whole, we got leaks about what they were going to be announcing in New York Comic Con beforehand. And it was called Dragon Ball Magic at that time. Maybe Daima is just how they pronounce it in Japanese, saying the word magic. I could be wrong because I don't speak Japanese, so I don't fully know. But I'm guessing it translates to magic in English. So it's probably going to still be called Dragon Ball Magic, but it's just called Dragon Ball Daima for this because this is the Japanese teaser trailer itself. And it's weird because it's a little bit over 3 minutes long, which usually a teaser trailer is like around a minute long. So this is longer than a teaser trailer. It's more like the length of an actual just trailer itself. Now, before I get into this, I do want to give a big shout out to a new subscriber of mine by the name of Satoshi Tolkani. A big thank you to you for subscribing to this channel. Also, before I get into this, I do want to talk about Dragon Ball Magic. That's what I'm going to name it, because I don't really like saying the Japanese one. It's kind of hard to pronounce, and I had many times I had to redo this shot and redo this video because I had trouble pronouncing the name itself. But yeah, I'm going to call it Dragon Ball Magic. And you guys already know my opinion and my feelings and my thoughts on Dragon Ball Magic beforehand, because when the announcement came out first from the leaks, I talked about it and I kind of didn't like the idea. I still don't like the idea, but I'm going to give it a fair shot. I'm not going to be too critical. I'm going to just look at what they're showing, and I'm going to just talk about stuff that I like and stuff that I don't like. And yeah, I'm going to try to hold off on my judgment before, I get into the trailer itself, because I don't want to have any negative perceptions on this before I get into it. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I just want to pause it right there. First, it was just showcasing the timeline of Dragon Ball when it first started off in the manga, then to the anime, and then all this other stuff. That's pretty cool, especially since it's the 40th anniversary that's dropping out, and that's why they're doing this. It's like a 40th anniversary special, which is cool, but I would have expected more from them than just some... I call it spin-off series, but it's technically not, because spin-off series do have like connections to the original story. It's either prologue to the main story, or it's usually what happened after the story was done, or either somewhere in between the story itself. Whereas this one, from what we've heard from the leaks, it doesn't have anything to do with the main story at all. Apparently it's its own separate thing. It's just like a side story, which I guess you can kind of, it's kind of like akin to the old school Dragon Ball films, where they were their own thing, but they do connect to the actual story itself or the universe itself. So it does have some ties, but it isn't a direct spin-off. Though I'm gonna still call it a spin-off, because it's just simpler to call it that. But first, the design for the the Daikaioshin realm, which is the evil Supreme Kai's realm, actually looks pretty good. Not gonna lie, it looks decent. I'm trying to go back to see it. Yeah, it looks nice. The design looks cool. The animation looks great. But the character designs that they showed, I did not like. One of the characters just looked like a regular Supreme Kai, which makes sense. If they're just the evil counterparts, they should just be looking like the same, but just a more evil version of them. And I did mention in one of my other videos that I would love to see them more in the main story, but I would expect them in the main story, not the side thing. The side thing is still cool to see them, but I would have preferred to see them in the main story. We have seen them before in Dragon Ball Xenoverse and in I think it was in Dragon Ball Online with Toa and Mira, because they're from the demon realm and stuff. And I think this is also where the evil Supreme Kais are from too. So we saw some stuff about them, but not fully. So we had one character that just looked like a Supreme Kai, and another weird short-looking character. It's one of those weird designs that Toriyama usually does. I did not like the design of those characters. I like the design of the dimension itself, and the art style, and also the CGI, not CGI, what's it, animation itself. It looked nice with the dimension, but the character designs look pretty lame to me, if I'm being honest. They look generic. Also, they're looking at a bunch of eclipses of them in different story events, which I think that's pretty cool. It also says that this is a story never told before, which is like, for one, that's not true, because they're ripping off GT with the turning back into kid stuff and going on an adventure to get back to an adult. So that's not really a never told before story. It might be different than that, obviously, but that doesn't mean it's never told. It's just told differently. And also on top of that, it's like, well, obviously every time you get a story, it should be a different, something that's never been told before. But the thing is, recently now with Dragon Ball, they have been pretty lazy when it comes to creativity, redoing the Broly film, redoing the Red Ribbon Army coming back, Cell Max and all this other stuff, bringing Frieza back as a threat again. So they have been very unoriginal and uncreative for a while now. So I guess this is a little bit of a newer story, but it's still the same old shit. It doesn't seem that much different. It might be a little bit more different, but from what I see right now, it doesn't look that special. Okay, first I want to say the art style looks nice. The animation looks very fluid and beautiful. It looks like it's going to be good looking at least. But the story, it looks a little weird. So yes, I guess the difference between the GT one is they just turned Goku into a kid. And this one they turned Goku, Vegeta, and the entire cast into a kid. From what we heard from the synopsis, the only children characters characters we've seen turn and converted into children were Goku and Supreme Kai. So this whole Vegeta and the rest of the crew being kids thing, it's completely different than what we've heard. So it's a little bit more. I don't like that idea, to be honest. I mean, I guess it's a little bit more fair that it's not just Goku being a kid or just him and Supreme Kai. It's the entire cast, but I feel like the marketing behind this is the whole chibi character designs, making these big iconic characters be these cutesy little versions of themselves. So the way I look at it, I just feel like it's a chibi version of all the main cast as a whole. and it seems like more of a marketing ploy for younger kids, and just that market and demographic for chibi, like action figures and dolls and toys. Because in the end of the day, the like Dragon Ball and these other animes, they're mainly made for to sell toys and games and merchandise and stuff like that. And something like this does, it can generate a lot of toys for children and stuff, from what I've seen. Like I said, it looks fluid, though. It looks beautiful, especially the transformation scene where you see Goku and stuff. It looks different than what we got from, in Dragon Ball Super, which I do want to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that towards the end of this video when I'm done with the reaction itself. But yeah, they all turn into kids except for Trunks and Goten, who turn into literally infants, making sense since they're way younger than them. Then we see an eye, we see some other stuff, we see the dimension, we see different places. So it is kind of like, Dragon Ball GT where Goku's traveling through the cosmos. This is probably going to be a little bit different than that, but like I said, saying that this is a completely different story that's never been told before is not true. It has been told through GT. Obviously, GT probably did it differently, and it's going to be significantly different, but that does not mean that this is, something new that we've never heard before. It's just a little bit of tweaked version of the original. But it looks nice. I'm going to let the rest of it finish because there's only a couple of seconds left. And then I'm going to talk about it as a whole towards the end, because I do see some stuff throughout this that is a little bit interesting, and a little bit of stuff that I do want to talk about throughout the whole story as a whole. So that was the teaser trailer for Dragon Ball Daima, which I call Dragon Ball Magic because that's what we got. And that's what I'm assuming that Daima means in English. It means magic. So I'm just going to call it Dragon Ball Magic. Sorry if I was fiddling with my hair quite a bit. I just don't like seeing it down this way, and I try to mess with it, but sometimes my hair, when it gets stuck in one place, it just does not move. But yeah, going back to that, the thing that I want to talk about was the art style and the animation, because I think that caught our eye and our attention the most. The rest of the story about turning them into kids, we already heard about that. I didn't expect the rest of the crew to be turned into kids, so that was a little bit more different. But there was nothing really too much into this. We just saw them all turn into kids, a little bit of the journey. The two villains that did this, we don't know what their plan is fully. We saw a little bit of I guess you can say outwardly traveling and adventure, and it is definitely more focused on adventure, kind of going back to the roots of Dragon Ball, which I think that it's kind of lame to do it through this way. You can do an adventure. We have multiple other universes. We can have an adventure of these Dragon Ball characters going to these other universes. We did have a little bit with the Universe 10 thing, right? But I think we could have done more and dived more deep into these other universes and stuff like that. So if we wanted a real adventure, one, we could go throughout more of the Dragon Ball universe itself, Universe 7, or the other universes themselves, instead of just being like, well, no. For us to do this journey thing, we just have to make them kids. Or you could just have them go through other universes because we want to know more about them and more about Universe 7 too, which is crazy because still at this point we don't know that much about Dragon Ball 7. I mean, not Dragon Ball 7, Dragon Ball 7th universe and how, everything works and runs in the whole universe as a whole. So I want to check out more of that. The thing about the art style and the animation, it does look good, it does look crisp, it does look clean. But I also don't like that. I don't like it. I'm not saying I don't like it because I don't like that it's cool, crisp and clean. I do like that, but I don't like the fact that Toriyama is putting more care into the designs and the look of this little mini-ass spin-off series instead of the main story. Because remember when we had Dragon Ball Super coming out? When Dragon Ball Super first came out, a lot of the episodes looked like garbage. Yes, we had some really cool-looking moments throughout, the Tournament of Power, and the Goku Black versus Goku Black arc. I was gonna say Goku Black versus Goku Vegeta or whatever arc, but the Goku Black arc and the Universe 6 versus 7 arc. They had some good moments, but a lot of the moments didn't look that great, especially in the Battle of Gods and Resurrection of F story, especially Resurrection of F. That looked awful. So it kind of does piss me off a little. On one part, I'm happy that this one, it looks so nice and good. So we're gonna have, even if the fights aren't too crazy, at least it's going to look beautiful. But it does piss me off that he put more time and effort and more care into making this little spin-off thing look better than the main story that we got with Dragon Ball Super. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Dragon Ball Super was years ago, way before this. But still, around the time that Dragon Ball Super came out, it wasn't that long ago. It came out around like 2016. That is not that, old, And animes out then, back then that came out had way better looking animation and art style than what we got from Dragon Ball Super. So I do not know why Dragon Ball Super looked like such dog shit for most of its run, but this looks so good. So that kind of pisses me off a little bit. It's like, really, the thing that actually pertains to the story progressing, you don't give a shit of how good it looks. And yes, we know the whole thing with the artist having short time limit. I'm not blaming them. I'm blaming Toriyama because he could have held off on that project for a little bit longer on Dragon Ball Super and got more of these episodes done while they had like extra time. So they didn't have to bum rush their animators, because by doing that they made a shitty product. So it does annoy me a little bit in that regard that you put more care into the how of making this look beautiful and fluid, but the main thing that you made it look like dog shit for most of the part. Like, do you even like the series that you're making, or are you just trying to, like, I don't know, fuck around for whatever reason? Because for me it seems a little disrespectful. It's like, we were waiting for years for a full series to come back in continuation of the Dragon Ball story, and we did, and we had it look kind of bad and people were clowning it. And then we have this that doesn't really even connect to that story, and it looks beautiful like a movie. Like, why? Why couldn't you have done this for Super? What was stopping you from making Super look beautiful, but made this look so beautiful? So I just feel like that's disrespectful to me, and I don't like that personally. But this doesn't look too bad, but it's nothing special. If I'm be honest, it is gonna be like pretty fun. I think when it comes out, it's gonna be like a fun little like playful adventurous thing, but it's not gonna really have any weight behind it because, like I said, it's not gonna really pertain to the main story, so it's not gonna really matter that much anyway. And I'm one of those type of people that likes the story to continue on. I like more stuff that adds on to the actual like source material of the story itself. I'm fine with side stuff that, even if they don't pertain to the main story, like in the original Dragon Ball films, they didn't have anything to do with the actual story. Some people try to fit it into the canon and it didn't really make any sense, but I didn't mind those movies. I really liked them for what they were, but in the end of the day, I care more about the canon material than the non-canon material, if you get what I'm saying, because who cares about this? Because let's say all the characters die in this. Well, so what? This is not connected to the main story, so it doesn't matter if anything bad happens. Whereas in the main story, if something goes wrong, then it's like, oh man, that actually affects how the story plays out itself. So I guess there's that disconnect for me there personally. I think it's cool, but then also for me personally, like I said, it might look nice, it might be fun, but and this is my own personal grievance. Sorry, my own personal pet peeve, I'll say, is that I would rather have it continue on to the story. I care more about the main story than I do about the side stuff. So some of you guys might not care, you just want content, so that's fine. But for me personally, I would rather have stuff that has to do with the main story and actually connect to it instead of this stuff. Because even if it's fun, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You can get rid of it completely and it wouldn't affect the main story at all. But if you get rid of Dragon Ball Super, it would affect, Dragon Ball. Though I wish they did kind of change a lot of aspects of Dragon Ball Super. But like I said, it wasn't a bad trailer. It looked nice. I just don't like the fact that they put more hard work and effort into making this look beautiful. But then when you have the full-on series like Super, they made it look like dog shit most of the time. And I also just, even if it's fun and entertaining, I just don't care about it because it has nothing to do with the actual canon itself. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for next time.